Vitamin B3, also known as niacin, is one of the most biochemically active and misunderstood vitamins in the supplement world. It doesn't just come in one form, but in a family of related compounds, including nicotinic acid, niacinamide, also called nicotinamide, inositol hexanocotinate, and nicotinamide riboside. While they all fall under the B3 umbrella, they behave very differently in the body, especially when it comes to safety, therapeutic effects, and the risk of producing problematic metabolites like 4-PY, for pyridone 3-carboxamide, 1-S-D-ribonucleoside. Let's start with nicotinic acid, the classic form of niacin. It's the version that's been used pharmacologically for decades to lower LDL cholesterol, raise HDL, and reduce triglycerides. In this regard, it's clinically effective, but not without baggage. At doses used for lipid modification, usually 1,000 to 3,000 mg/day, it can cause flushing, a prostaglandin-mediated dilation of blood vessels that many users find uncomfortable. More importantly, high doses of nicotinic acid are metabolized heavily in the liver, and this is where things get dicey. During niacin's hepatic breakdown, nicotinic acid is converted to nicotinamide, which is further degraded into N-methylnicotinamide, MNA, and then into 4-PY, especially when the NAD+ salvage pathways are overwhelmed. This happens more readily at high doses, and once 4-PY builds up, it starts interacting with critical enzymes like PRP1, impairing DNA repair and promoting vascular inflammation, particularly in endothelial cells. This may explain why some high-dose niacin trials have shown increased risk of stroke and adverse vascular outcomes despite improvements in cholesterol. So, while nicotinic acid has a strong track record for lipid modification, it also carries the highest risk of producing harmful niacin metabolites, especially 4-PY. Now enter niacinamide, nicotinamide, often marketed as the no-flush form of B3. It doesn't trigger vasodilation and is usually considered safer and more tolerable. It also doesn't improve cholesterol levels the way nicotinic acid does, but it's used in a wide variety of skincare products, energy metabolism supplements, and increasingly, in longevity, formulations that aim to boost NAD+ levels. But here's the catch. Niacinamide can also generate 4-PY, particularly at high doses, above 500 mg per day, and its methylation demands are substantial, as it's metabolized into MNA and then into 4-PY, just like nicotinic acid. If your methylation system is already stressed, due to genetic factors like MTHFR polymorphisms, chronic inflammation, or nutrient imbalances, niacinamide supplementation could contribute to methyl donor depletion like SAME and lead to increased metabolic waste and inflammatory signals, including vascular stress. So, while niacinamide is generally safer at modest doses, under 250 to 300 mg/day, and lacks the flushing and liver enzyme elevation associated with nicotinic acid, it's not harmless at higher doses, and its potential to contribute to 4-PY buildup should not be dismissed, especially when taken chronically or in combination with fortified foods. Other B3 variants like inositol hexanocotinate, a so-called flush-free niacin, have lost favor because they don't reliably improve cholesterol and their metabolism is slow and inefficient. However, they also tend to produce less 4-PY, making them relatively safer in this regard, though their overall efficacy is poor. Similarly, the more novel forms, like nicotinamide riboside (NR) and nicotinamide mononucleotide (NMN), are often used in anti-aging regimens aimed at boosting NAD+ levels without the side effects of traditional niacin. Initial research on NR and NMN is promising, and early studies suggest they may be less likely to produce 4-PY, though this isn't fully confirmed in long-term human trials. Because these compounds are pushed toward NAD+ salvage pathways rather than methylation and breakdown, they may offer a safer route for NAD+ enhancement, if used appropriately and in individuals without metabolic overload. But again, this assumes a well-functioning NAD+ recycling system, and it doesn't eliminate the risk entirely. So, are all forms of B3 created equal? Not even close. Nicotinic acid, effective for lipids, but high risk for 4-PY accumulation and vascular inflammation, especially at pharmacological doses. Niacinamide, no flush, good for general use and skin health, but still metabolized into 4-PY when overused and taxing on methylation pathways. Inositol hexanocotinate, low 4-PY risk, but underwhelming efficacy and unpredictable absorption. Nicotinamide riboside/NMN. The NAD plus darlings, potentially lower risk for 4PY formation, but long-term safety still under investigation. The bottom line? Form, dose, and context matter deeply. If you're using niacin to treat a specific condition under medical supervision, nicotinic acid might still have a place. If you're taking niacinamide casually every day because it sounds healthy or anti-aging, you could be silently nudging your vascular system toward low-grade inflammation. And if your diet is already rich in fortified grains and supplements, you may be stacking B3 from multiple sources without realizing it, raising 4PY levels over time, even without high-dose pills. In the world of B3, more is definitely not always better, and no flush does not mean no consequences.